Hello, and welcome to Let's Play Dawntrail. My name is M. Kosler. This is my playthrough of the Dawntrail MSQ and anything else Dawntrail related that I decide I wanted to stream on my main. If you don't mind leaving a like on your way into the stream, I would be greatly appreciated. If you'd like to know when I go live for these things, that's the easiest way is to just go ahead and subscribe to that channel, but you can also join the community Discord, !Discord in the live chat should get you a Discord invite link. You can also find that link in the video description below. For all your needs. We are learning about the city, the outskirts of this newly constructed dome city thing that plopped into the region of Yasolani in Shaktural. And there's so much to learn. We met the person who was referred to in the live letters as the enigmatic maiden. Her name is Queen Sphene in the game. And the region that she lords over is called Alexandria, which is why I've got it's Vamo Alla Flamenco. There we go. Playing in the background. Because obviously, given they're giving us Garnet, they're giving us the Arc Mount, they're giving us all sorts of different things related to Final Fantasy IX. We're obviously making allusions to Final Fantasy IX. There's so much to learn, so much to know. As a recap of what we know so far, at some point 30 years in the past, according to the folks who live under the dome, but obviously not that long for those outside of the dome, the bubble, the barrier, whatever you want to call it, landed on a region in Yasolani, entrapping folks that lived there, as well as transporting folks from what we believe is another shard to the source. We believe that, or at least I believe that Queen Sphene is from this other shard. While a lot of the folks that we've met are probably originally residents of the source. Zeralja and Queen Sphene essentially rule as the Vow of Resolve and the Vow of Reason in this dome. And Zeralja had been working on an invasion expedition to leave the dome to do what he did. We already recapped everything that happened when he left the dome last stream. There's a ton of things that we've learned very quickly, or learned or hinted at very quickly, and we'll see a lot of it when we teleport back to there. We did the dungeon. We did the 4th dungeon called Vanguard. I think that's what it's called. Is that right? Vanguard. Yes. And in Vanguard, the final boss was an actual human, not just another automaton like the rest of the party that escaped the dome seemed to be. Who we defeated pretty easily, but then they had a phase 2, and during their conversation, they made mention of they were disappointed that they had to use these extra souls or something along those lines in order to fight us, in order to get enough power to what he thought was defeat us. That also transformed that boss into like a snake person when they basically came back from the dead, essentially. We also see that everyone that we've seen so far in Alexandria / Heritage Found / Old Yasalani has some kind of Neuralink thing on the side of their head, which we don't have much of an explanation of. But I imagine that has something to do with this whole concept of consuming additional souls to be reborn. Queen Sphene seems to be defying Zoralja by interacting with us, but we don't really know if we're wary of her trust. Wuklamat being very like wide-eyed. Clearly just as already to the point where she's like, oh, I'm gonna trust this person. But Alize, and I think our player character, is much more wary. What else? Oh, Aaronville, who accompanied us on this expedition, because he wanted to know what happened to his family and friends who live in Old Yasalani, made some inquiries to the populace on the outskirts of Alexandria, or whatever we're going to call this, to say that, or asking if anyone had met Cacuina? It's Chciua. Maybe there's no in. Cacuia, who was his mother and mentor. No one seemed to know or remember her other than Queen Sphene, but she was hesitant to reveal what may have happened to her because a patrolling automaton guard was walking by. So we don't really know if the area that we're in is part of the reflection that we believe the gate to the Golden City led to, or if it's actually part of the source. My theory was the enormity of this object from whatever shard this was at, or this came from, is essentially acting like gravity, and that things with higher mass exhibit more gravity. So something with huge mass from a shard, from another shard, sort of does a time dilation to things surrounding it. We still can, though they kind of just again hand wave the time difference stuff between inside and outside once we enter, because we were able to make communication with Y'shtola. G'raha was able to make communication with Y'shtola via a link pearl, and to relay what he's been observing inside the dome. There's so much to learn. The main thing that I'm wanting to figure out is this whole idea of, are we in the source or are we not? Because unlike the Crystal Tower, which we believe was entirely in the first, the version of the Crystal Tower that both time traveled and traveled across the rift, what existed entirely in the first, given the fact that there was this time dilation for folks who used to live in Yas'Alani and now live in Heritage Found, who think that it's been 30 years since the dome landed as opposed to a day or so. Makes me think that we're on another shard, but that's not good enough because the surrounding landscape, as Aaronville described, is the landscape of the Yas'Alani that he grew up in. So, enough, what's the, I want to look here. Let's go back to, let's go look at it right here. We have Terral. Others. Oh, there's no additional location there. I was thinking that there might have been another location to explain what they're calling this whole area. It's probably just Alexandria, but we don't know for certain. Alrighty. Touring farmlands with the queen of another nation is not how I expected to spend my day. Right, I remember that's what she said. Day in the life. Sphene is eager to show you around. Rather than bore you with lengthy explanations, let's head back to the farm we passed earlier. Yupyes, not Yu. Yupyes Hollow it is called. We can speak with one of the farmers when we arrive. I guess we're off to Yupyes Hollow. They've also mentioned, so inside here, as you just saw there, it is a land of Levin, as they described it in one of the quests. And the folks that live on the outskirts, who presumably all came from Yasalani, wanted to continue to maintain their traditional way of life rather than just acquiesce. I don't know how you describe it. Take on the full technology of this new civilization. And so but considering we're in this gloomy sky, no sun location, they had to like adapt technology. I think they called them electropes, which are these things here, to provide artificial sunlight and watering to their plants. Oh, you have an interest in our farmland? I'll tell you anything you want to know. Oh, you want to know about me? Well, there's not much to tell. I'm Iopicana. I've always had a fondness for growing things, and I've got quite good at it. Good at cooking various types of produce. I can also tell how fresh vegetables are by just looking at them. This is Yipye's Hollow, an important part of life here in the outskirts. I work alongside Shadowaki, who runs the place, and we cultivate a variety of vegetables here. With the help of the electrope technology, we make the most of what the land has to offer and support those who call this place home. They also grow produce inside Everkeep, but it's not the same as the plants originally from Tyrol. The farmland is mainly used for cultivating Tyroli vegetables using traditional methods. Interesting. Everkeep. It's this new location. What do you suppose they keep inside this building? Here we are. I'm sure you'll learn a great deal from the workers here. Who say? Allow me to introduce you to Mahuse, one of the most experienced farmhands in all of Alexandria. You see how she's got the weird Neuralink thing. We don't see a Neuralink on Sphene, and I don't know whether that is because they only installed these Neuralink things on Source native folks and not folks from wherever Sphene's people are from, or it's been integrated into her dress, like it's the tail thing going on behind her, or maybe even the buckle. She's well versed in myriad farming techniques. Indeed, the wealth of knowledge she shared with the other farmers is what allowed this place to flourish. Queen Sphene, to what do I owe this sudden shower of praise? My apologies for the interruption. I come with guests from beyond the barrier. They wish to learn more of Alexandria, and so I invited them to see how our crops are grown. I hope that's all right. So the rumors of visitors from the outside are true. What manner of host would we be to deny them a look around? And I gather your majesty is intended to check on things here. You know me too well, Mahusa. I thought to seize this opportunity to see how the farmers fare, and perhaps pepper them with a few questions. Though I do enjoy observing and taking part in the work too. It would appear we have her permission, so please walk the grounds to your heart's content. Go on ahead. I'll keep Sphene company. Don't misunderstand, I'm not the suspicious type. But given our positions, it would make sense for us to go around together, wouldn't you say?
A fair point. But be sure not to let me out of your sight. I shall remain under Wuklamat's watchful eye. Pray come find us after you've seen your fill and spoken with the other farmhands.
What you gotta say, Mahusa? My duties here are quite varied, despite being a farmer. We all have to do our part if we're to prosper. Southeast, not that far from here. Let's go do that right now. Directly south now. Probably up on this ridge somewhere. No, southeast. Oh, is it up on that ridge? That might be where it is. But I don't know if I can get up there from here. No, I guess I can. You're obviously not moving that slow on the mount. But just given that you're not seeing like feet move and the bounce is so slow. Music here is definitely a departure from basically everything else we've heard. I don't know how I feel about it. It's supposed to be confusing. That's the mood that it's setting. It's supposed to be discordant, confusing, because you're seeing a world entirely foreign to you. But as just like a zone theme? Is this really what I want to hear for hours on end as I'm doing shared fate? Or whatever else I might be doing in here? I don't know. West. But yeah, no, we'll just go down. Don't hit me while I'm super weak. Lot levels appear to be fine. As for the power source, you should know about my job. I tend the fields mostly, watering the crops, keeping the soil fertile, and so on. I admittedly took some time until I fully understood how best to carry out my duties. I also manage the lamps we use in the fields. We do our best to keep everything up to code, but should they ever start to malfunction, it's up to me to fix them. The land and sky being what they are, ensuring a rich harvest makes for constant work. But honestly, I enjoy how involved the process is. Both my parents being Alexandrian, okay, interesting. I didn't grow up knowing much of anything about farming. Every day is an opportunity to learn and grow. So, learn something new there. It is not just the former Atheris, the former Shaktaral, former Yasalani folks that have the things on the side of their head. Nor is it only folks on the outside are from Yasselani and folks on the inside are from Alexandria. If you should ever take an interest in farming, I'd be more than happy to teach you what I know. Hinek. Oh, an unfamiliar face? I gather this is your first time on site then? Well, this here is the storehouse, or rather, the entrance. The real storehouse is underground, much more spacious, and equipped with a temperature regulation system to keep the harvest from spoiling. Since the entrance is so small, it's much easier to prevent wild beasts from wandering inside, which also makes it a viable facility for breeding and raising livestock. We even got a few beds down there for emergencies. My parents often complain how Alexandrian technology and electrope complicate our lives, but it's just a matter of learning how things work. Take my job, for instance. I'm presently overseeing the storage of harvested crops. They'll be taken up to the tower for processing, and from there find their way to every dining table in Alexandria. Work is hard, I'll not deny it, but I take great satisfaction in what we do. Also, this is clearly a traditional Yasselani name, whereas this person's name is Elias. And they talked about how Alexandrian technology makes everything weird. So my guess is they are Yasselani. We got something to the northeast. It might be on the ridge. Certainly on the ridge. We can head over here. Everkeep Ward. It's kind of like a harpy or a gargoyle model. Directly north. Interesting. Earthen Sky. What's in here? Okay. Yenshi that. Okay, that's too far away. I don't know if this is like a night theme. Umbral Static. Okay, that's cool. I think lightning is umbral, which would make sense. Having umbral static. I'd have to look at the elemental wheel. So, Yasselani. They're saying that you and yours are visitors from beyond the barrier. That true? So it is, which means we're connected to the outside world again. Not that I have a desire to leave, mind you. I'm quite content with life here in Alexandria. But setting that aside, you're here to observe our work, right? As you can see, I'm in charge of livestock. Here in Yupe's Hollow, we produce only fruits and vegetables. Not only fruits and vegetables, but also meat, poultry, and eggs. Tending the animals is an absolute joy, but I have to be careful not to grow too attached. I was a little sad when they're shipped off, but a job's a job. Well, I need to get back, but it was nice talking to you. Please give my regards to the Queen. 30 years is enough. Is 30 years enough time for... Yeah, it could be enough time for what's the right way to say this? I want to say crossbreeding, but that's a little insensitive. Intermingling of the cultures, so that you could have an Alexandrian parent and a Yassalanian parent. It's a shame Kawana's not here to see all these bizarre contraptions.
I see. Don't be too hard on yourself. Anyone would have been hard-pressed to deal with such a thing. Oh, welcome back. My apologies for failing to notice your return. I gather you've had your fill of speaking with the farmers. Then let us return to Mahusa. Well, what are your impressions of the farm?
It was surprisingly normal. I was amazed that everyone loves their work. The electrope is quite impressive. Are there any military applications?
So it was the electrope that caught your eye. It's only natural, I suppose, if you come from a place without it. Still, you only seem mildly impressed. Seems to believe you have experience with even more marvelous technology. I'd love to hear your tales one day. And what did you think of our little tour, Lamati?
What did you call me?
Was that inappropriate? My apologies. I heard the others call you that by that name, and I thought...
Please don't let her say it. Come on. You're invading... You're counterattacking this nation.
Oh no, it's fine.
As you said before, we've no need for titles and formalities. As for my thoughts, I was very impressed. Machines could be used to overcome so harsh an environment is amazing. Never seen anything like it. That feeling is understandable. Indeed, many still find the machinery behind me baffling. It's a system that controls the distribution of water for the fields and the livestock, and it's been acting up lately, though.
Acting up, you say?
You needn't worry, my queen. It happens fairly often. Put simply, it's taken in water that had a strong lightning charge. We think some creatures have been charged up by the energy, and they're releasing it to the river we use as a source. The system would return to normal if the creatures were dealt with, but I'm reluctant to beg it of the army. Could get him to do it. Way too trusting with this lady. We could take care of it if you'd like.
It's most gracious of you to offer, but it's much too dangerous.
Oh, it's no trouble for the Vow of Resolve of Tuliolan. Regardless of how the relationship between our nations may develop, there are people in need I want to help. Simple as that. The name is even stronger than I am. It shouldn't take us long at all.
Then very well. I gratefully accept. But please, take all care.
This ought to go even faster if you and I search for the lightning-charged fiends on our own. Good hunting. Like the outfit of the farmer. I wonder if that'll be the gathering gear. I guess is the next one is on the other side of this wall here. Wow, you really are strong.
Ah, you're both alright, thank goodness.
You really needn't worry so much. You barely broke a sweat dealing with the fiends. They're all gone now.
Of course I was worried. You're my dear guests. But thank you. We truly appreciate this.
We're not your guests. We broke in. Indeed, with this, we won't have to ask Zoologist's machines for help. He's been making a concerted effort to bolster his force, sparing but a fraction for the people's protection. He thinks nothing of our safety, unlike Queen Sphene.
That's enough, Mahusa.
Just get rid of the W. Mahusa.
If you have grievances, I will hear them later. But to speak of the king now...
No, she's right. He's never been one to look after his people. Anyway, thanks for letting us tour the farm. The folk here are delightful, and it was a pleasure to meet them.
Couldn't have favored us with more uplifting words. My people are my pride and joy.
I wonder what it says on her thing, and I wonder if it's in the ancient Eorzean alphabet. And you never fail to let us know, nor how much you care.
Of course, you're my precious family, all of you.
You seem a good sort, Sphene, I'll admit. You'll forgive me if I'm not ready to lower my guard for the enemy queen just yet. You to be called that, I dread to imagine what villainy your majesty has committed.
Come now, this is no laughing matter. The ruler is responsible for the welfare of countless lives, and one wrong decision could lead to untold suffering. Failure is unconscionable. Now, I believe we are done with the farm. Let's move on, shall we?
I also want to know, so they went to the gate. Zoologist opened the gate. And when he opened the gate, or sorry, before he opened the gate, the folks, a voice on the other side, which I can't remember, may or may not have been Sphene's voice, was like, basically like, we'll do anything that you want if you'd open the gate. So I wonder why they felt they were in that position. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
My apologies for laughing earlier. Your friend painted an image so far removed from the fiend we know, I couldn't help myself. So I'll show you, bastard. Soon we take you back to the outskirts. Perhaps we should head back to the outskirts. I dare say your friends will have also returned by now. My thanks for dealing with the fiends. Come and visit us anytime. There's so much of Alexandria I'd love to show you. Do you hear that?
What's happening over there?
Hoist.
It's nearly time.
Time for the raising of the dead and the consuming of souls and blood.
I'm glad you could make it. Are you with us?
Queen's Fiend has come to see you. We're here, Namika. Everything is going to be all right.
Okay, well, she should recognize us.
What's the matter, dear?
It can't be. That's the bangle I gave to Namika.
You know her?
Of course I know her. She was like a mother to me.
I see. She was always willing to lend a kindly ear to others, but rarely did she ever speak of herself.
Is it really you?
She must have arrived shortly before the barrier manifested. For us, it was perhaps days, but for her...
Namika, it's me! Wuklamat!
I'm afraid her time with us is nearly at an end. Has she no more soul cells?
She always used hers sparingly, but at her age, it wouldn't make a difference.
Ma'am, the ushers have arrived.
I'm gonna take you outside like the giver.
Thank you, Namika, for your many years of friendship. Take comfort in the knowledge that this is not the end. Be not afraid. Your memory will live on. In us.
In us, huh?
living on in memory. The giants share a similar belief.
Wait, where are you taking her?
Worry not. She is being escorted to a medical facility in the tower. There we will ease her burden. I had hoped to make arrangements for her sooner, but she wished to remain here for as long as possible. I could not bring myself to refuse her.
We made into Soylent.
Is there any way I might stay with her for a little while longer? We may not share the same blood, but she was my mother. Please.
Let us give them some time alone.
Are we gonna leave? Okay, thank you.
She didn't speak, but I'm grateful that I could be with her at the end. Thank you.
It's not the end.
Hmm?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking that we have much to discuss. Where shall we begin?
With what we can be reasonably certain of, perhaps. Between what we have witnessed and the testimony of Alexandria's inhabitants, it's safe to say that two distinct lands have indeed become one. What's more, having met Namika, there is no denying the divergence in the passage of time.
Sure.
Taken together, these phenomena strongly suggest that some manner of cross-rift displacement has occurred.
Sure.
Specifically, the displacement of Alexandria from another reflection to the source.
Sure.
It does seem the most likely explanation.
What perplexes me, however, is the scale of said displacement. It far exceeds what could conceivably be achieved with a void gate, or even with the Crystal Tower. In essence, we are dealing with a localized instance of dimensional compression. The Ascians would no doubt liken it to a rejoining.
Okay, interesting.
Which invites the question, how was such a feat accomplished?
I wish that I had an answer for you, but this talk of reflections and dimensions is well beyond my understanding. I can only tell you that we lived peacefully under the barrier's protection for many, many years, until the day that peace was suddenly broken.
If I may clarify, the barrier predates Alexandria's displacement.
By several hundred years, yes.
Hmm.
To when the continent we call home was ravaged by a devastating cataclysm. The barrier was erected to isolate us from the surrounding land's innocuous influence.
I see. And it was only later that it was whisked away, along with its contents, by means unknown.
In other words, Sphene's as lost as the rest of us, right? The Alexandrians didn't mean to end up in Tural.
That's not true. She's gonna say.
Ah, but of course, our next stop ought to be Everkeep. That tower over yonder. Once you have been registered as my guests, you will have access to Solution 9 and its residential district, where you will doubtless gain invaluable insight into Alexandria's state of affairs. Unfortunately, I cannot take you directly to where Zoralja resides.
That you'd let us in it all goes a long way toward proving you're not content to let Zoralja do as he pleases. But we're not talking about a simple difference of opinion here. I've come to avenge my father, and to do so, I intend to take Zoralja's life. Are you willing to stand by and allow Alexandria's king to be slain?
A fair question. Permit me to answer it thus. My people come first. Their welfare is paramount. I will do everything in my power to keep them from harm. It is a ruler's duty. Now, I am off to register you at Everkeep. It may take some time, but you shall find the entrance open to you in due course. Oh, and ere I forget, your mother, Kafkiwa? You might try the Thunder Yards to the east.
The Thunder Yards? Is that where she is?
I'm afraid I can say no more than that. Make for the Thunder Yards, and all will be made clear.
I think it makes sense. Assuming direct control.
It's not as if we have other pressing business. Not until we can get into this Everkeep, anyway. Thank you for earlier. And for being a friend to Namika these past 30 years. It means a lot to me.
Namika? I'm sorry, but I don't know who you mean.
Oh boy, they're going there.
We were just with her. If this is some sort of a joke, it isn't funny.
I don't mean to give offense, but I honestly have no idea who you are talking about. I'm sorry.
How can you not know who she is? You're in charge here. She was under your care.
Then in all likelihood, my memories of her have been stored in the cloud.
Literally called the cloud. That's funny.
Any person seemingly forgotten without reason is probably there, in the cloud. Oh, I really must be getting back to work. If you'll excuse me.
Motherfucker's literally called it the cloud. Okay. I was thinking that this would have been from one of the worlds, one of the shards that, excuse me, would have been from one of the shards that was unjoined. But now what I'm thinking is this was from whichever shard it was that caused the calamity of lightning when it was sucked in. But somehow the people of Alexandria on that continent were, or on that reflection, were able to not be sucked in during the rejoining. And they kind of just sat there surrounded by this barrier for however long. She said several hundred years. So how did more questions to come out from there. So I feel like I've got the answer to one of them. Still don't really have a good answer for how the original gate appeared. Who Kryle's folks were. When that happened. From their perspective. And then, yeah, this is definitely some memory erasing shit.
This is very unsettling. We'll see how it is with other people. As far as I could tell, Papuane genuinely had no recollection of Namika.
Maybe Queen Sphene really isn't neurolinked. And while she could remember who Kakua, God, they literally just pronounce her name, and I can't wrap my brain around it again. No one else knew who this person was because it was erased. Or moved to the cloud. Sorry, what did Aaronville say? I've never seen or heard anything like this before. What's going on? How could Papuane suddenly forget about Namika? It's as if he never knew her. The same thing have happened to others as well, I wonder. There's only one way we can find out. Let's make inquiries. Let's make inquiries about Namika in the area. We can reconvene afterwards at the Aetheryte. No one's gonna remember. Everyone's neurolinked. A Lalafell. There weren't any Lalafells in Tuliolal, so this must be an Alexandrian.
An old woman named Namika? I'm afraid I don't know that person. I'm sorry, it couldn't be of help.
Papuane knows that something happened to his memory, but he's also like not worried about it. Is interesting.
What's that?
Yeah, you would be Shatona.
What's that? Do I know an Namika? Never met anyone by that name, and I've worked at the outskirts a good while now. She spent time here, I would remember.
I wonder if only certain folks get that, get the privilege to know. And this is the house that she was in.
I do recall caring for someone until recently. So that woman was named Namika. I can't say for certain it was her. I wouldn't worry. I'm sure she's just been taken up to the cloud.
Okay, interesting. So maybe they're not completely unaware. Also, they don't believe that they're dead.
So it was the same for everyone. Not a single person remembers Namika. As if the memory of her has been purged from their minds. While such a thing might be done with magic, to alter memories of so many at once would be a tremendous undertaking. We would have felt a surge of ether corresponding to the act too, and I sensed none in that moment. Neither did I, but I did notice something else. Right before Pepperwani seemingly forgot, a light in the device on his head began to blink. Could there be a connection? Someone also said something about soul cells. But who might we ask about this? If we continued making such inquiries, I would expect it would only cause confusion. Indeed, if we can't readily solve this mystery about Namika, perhaps we could search for Kakuya instead?
Kakiwa.
Bean said to try the Thunder Yards.
It should be in this direction.
What the fuck is that?
Okay. Impossible.
Another kind of mechanical soldier. It looks dangerous. We better destroy it.
Whoa.
Should we give chase? I think it understood our words. It might be worth asking it some questions. Aaronville, you're right. Look like you've seen a ghost.
Kakiwa.
Nothing. I'm fine. Well, it went off in the direction we're headed anyways, so let's try to track it down.
I feel like the music in the cutscene I'll just leave it.
Boom, boom.
Definitely keeping on more and more things.
Nothing but birds over here. No sign of it over. No sign of it over here. That voice. Could it be? Kiwa, Kiwa, Kikiwa, Kikiwa, Kikiwa. You found it? To the northeast? And it must be bound for the mines. Come on then. It could well be a trap, so let's not rush in too quickly. I think it's safe to assume it went into the mines. A coal mine appears to have long since been abandoned, like so many other places. The stones in those crates. Could it be turquoise? So it went in here. I heard a faint voice coming from inside. So it's not alone. We're still going in, of course. It's maybe a trap, but be ready to fight, everyone. It would appear no one has worked these tunnels in quite some time. I'm not worried. We had to improvise countless times before, after all. This tunnel just keeps going. A device made with electrope. Seems to be the only one here. I can hear them. Several people up ahead. I can't make out their conversation with the echoing. Let's keep going. Stay on your guard.
What is this? Ironville!
A trap?
It really is you!
Huh?
My darling, what now?
Oh, it's so good to see you, my fussy little bun bun. But what are you doing here? What brings you all this way?
Are you all right?
Why the long face? Aren't you happy to see me after all this time?
I know that laugh anywhere. Mother?
Wait. Since when was your mother a weird floating thing?
And what have we here? Say, aren't you Galoo Jaja's kitten? I knew I recognized that adorable fuzzy face. Alla was always so excited whenever you invited him over to play. You remember me, I hope?
I can't say that I do, but you know my father?
Appearances notwithstanding, it would seem this is my mother, Kafkiwa.
Kakiwa.
I'm sorry?
Oh, this won't do. Come in! Friends of my LNSP are always welcome.
They don't have Neuralinks.
All I ask is a little forewarning, but no.
Just when I thought I was starting to get a handle on this place, how are things still getting stranger?
Ooh, I like this music. The Alligans had machines that could be controlled remotely. Is she using something similar to communicate with us? I can't understand what's going on, but at least Kakiwa is safe. At this point, I doubt anything could possibly surprise me. Anvil's mother is a floating machine. Right, that makes about as much sense as everything else thus far. Hello? As far as I can tell, this is indeed my mother. A few people in the world quite so spirited. As to what happened, we'll need to ask her. Anvil is conflicted by this long-fated reunion. Let's hear what she has to say. I'm just gonna give her my voice. she obviously sounds very American. So wonderful to meet you all.
the students of Baldessian. It's been a while since I heard that name. Dare I ask the reason for your appearance? Oh, this? It's just a body that I control remotely. I use this for our operations. Okay, so she's not inside this thing. I thought we were going to find Namika in one of these. We're members of a resistance organization. Oblivion, we call ourselves, and our goal is to thwart Zoalja's ambitions for conquest. As the leader, it's prudent that we remain here. We remain where it can't easily, where I can't easily be found. I see. Whimsical appearances notwithstanding, yours is a serious cause. Right you are. Truth be told, Oblivion was founded for an altogether different purpose. And that is... As I expect you've already noticed, everything you see within this dome, the buildings, the people, the very earth beneath our feet, is a fusion of two worlds. Stopping such a fusion was Oblivion's original mission. Then does it mean you know who or what is responsible for it? Sorry, that was Cryle. I'm afraid not. It was a long time ago, and our mission statement has become more of a legend that's passed down by two members. By the time we joined, our sole objective was stopping Zoalja. But we failed to do that, and now he's taken his army outside the dome. None of you wear those strange devices on your heads. Does that have something to do with your work? Very Matrix. You mean this? It's a regulator, the pinnacle of electrope technology, and that we don't wear it is indeed related to our operations. What exactly does it do? Allow me to explain. Geode. Name. Regulators have two primary functions. The first, as the name suggests, is the regulation of the wearer's reserve of souls. Should they die, the regulator expends a soul to bring them back to life. Reserve? You mean people walk around carrying spare souls? They do. Souls are packed in cells, and they can be used to replenish the life force that is lost due to sudden death, such as in accidents. They do nothing for those who die of old age, though. Interesting. Distribution of soul cells is based on one's work evaluation to encourage exemplary performance when fulfilling their deeds. Souls is a common resource in payment for services rendered. Where do they get the souls? The Voidsent practice of consuming others for their ether comes to mind. Similarly, I expect the act comes with some risk. Sure. Yeah. So not completely forgotten. Does it dilute your sense of self? Wouldn't the consciousness of the other just corrupt your own? That is prevented through memory management, a process in which regulators also play a role. Memory management? And the reason everyone has forgotten Namika's existence.
The regulators are constantly recording the memories of their wearer, so if they should suddenly die, their memories can be refreshed as part of the restoration process. This is how they preserve one's identity and sense of self. However, the regulators are also triggered when someone else dies. Reason being is that regulators forcibly extract memories related to the deceased from anyone wearing one.
Why would they do such a thing?
It's a kindness bestowed upon the people by Everkeep's core system, so that no one has to suffer the pain of loss.
So that is what is meant by their memories being in the cloud.
Indeed, all the memories of the deceased are wiped from the minds of the people and archived in the system. It's a frightening function of the regulators and an integral step in soul cell production. Alright, we get an explainer. Oh, no, I died. You see, when a person dies of natural causes, their soul is temporarily housed within the regulator. And it's delivered to a facility where the memories are separated from the soul. Sure. We saw that orb being extracted from a Tuliolan citizen. The result is a fresh soul cell, free of impurities, ready for distribution and consumption. Why don't they give it back to the same person? I guess because they can't make a body?
Meanwhile, the memories are stored in the core system to be remembered forever.
But they erase everyone's memories, so why do they care?
And this is why people are happy here. On its surface, it's similar to the Yakui philosophy, but I see nothing noble or comforting in it.
Well, it doesn't seem so terrible to me personally. It all comes down to what you're used to, I suppose. Like the barrier encasing Alexandria, the system was created to overcome the calamity that transformed the world hundreds of years ago. Amidst the mountain death toll, scientists use electrope to devise a means to save what lives they could so that the nation could endure. This person probably wouldn't have a southern accent, because I think they're Alexandrian. I understand the people of Alexandria did what they believed was best to save their people. I just find it hard to believe the Turali would also accept this way of living. It came as a shock to us as well. In fact, a great many were opposed to it. Which is why the use of regulators was never compulsory. People have always been free to go without them if they so wish. Bean didn't strike me as the sort of ruler to impose her will on others. Ah, so you've already met? He's the one who suggested we come to the Thunder Yards in the first place. She also said she wants to help us stop Zoalja. Awfully kind of her to point you in my direction and to speak so candidly as well. Whatever her motives, she has given the people a choice: live with the risk of true death or the security of the regulators. Everything that lives must someday die. That's the natural order of things. Quite right, but however you feel about them, it'll be easier to understand what the regulators are capable of if you saw it for yourself. I know just the person to show you, and as luck would have it, they should be starting work right about now. Who are we going to see exactly? Come with me and you'll find out. Are we going to see Namika? Alright, who else we got in here? They care not to get struck by lightning out there. One fellow reckoned you could dodge them by jumping the instant there's a flash, but that's crazy if you ask me. Shut up. Nostalgia is my twin sister. Like most people, we both used to wear the regulators, but, well, let's just say a lot happened. Firearms make the most sense for people who don't have combat training like us. That's why we salvage as many as we can from the mechanical soldiers and convert them to our use. Why Yuckway? Nostalgia. Ogito ergo-san. Trying to remember what that was. But those regulators are to blame for everyone forgetting Namika. Getting what a wonderful person she was.
I'm sorry, but I just can't accept the idea of using souls as a resource.
Oh, we got a train going by.
We're going to see how the regulators work, but how? To alter the memories of the populace with such precision is no small feat. What does she intend to show us? Everyone here? Good. It's the responsibility of the Thunderyard's hunters to fell any fiends found wandering the area. Or to meet an acquaintance of mine, Strika, one of the hunters. Okay. So, not Namika. It's Yasolani. Electric potential. What do you think of this box? What do you think is in this box? I'm guessing food. I'm guessing souls. Judging by its name, I take it this facility is for gathering lightning energy. Sugar will show you what life can be like wearing a regulator. Let's get this over with. While I'm not blind to the potential benefit of these regulators, the risks inherent in giving another party the power to alter your memories cannot be overstated, never mind the ethical considerations of using souls in such a fashion. Given the opportunity, I should very much like to study Electrope on behalf of the students. I guess Stricker would just be Alexandrian. Also Elizin, so yeah, definitely not from Tyrol. Gakiwa, what are you doing here? With so many friends. I should have Gakiwa in a southern accent. Apologies for the interruption, but I was hoping they might observe you at work. Hunting, you mean? That's fine, I guess. Hold on. I assume they're wearing special regulators like Queen's Fiend's crown. Okay, so she does have one. But they aren't wearing anything at all. It's much too dangerous to be here without one. Or if they're struck by lightning or attacked by beasts. I can assure you they're all quite capable of looking after themselves. If anything should go amiss, I'll take full responsibility. Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Dangerous side, there isn't really much to see. Yakiwa said you're a hunter, but wouldn't it be easier for those mechanical soldiers to guard this place? It would, if not for the fact that they're weak to lightning. The Thunder Yard being what it is, they've been ordered to steer clear. Some good they are, eh? But these facilities are vital to the upkeep of Alexandria's infrastructure, so it falls to hunters like me to deal with any fiends. Given the danger, we're well compensated for our work. It's a perfect profession for anyone looking to build up savings. A special selection of souls for hunters isn't terrible either. I brought this lot here to see this danger you speak of. It's not too much trouble if it's not too much trouble to ask. Of course, in which case it'd be a shame to waste my efforts on just any old beast. You all can handle yourselves in a fight, right? Cause a ruckus, slaying what critters you see nearby, there's a chance you'll draw out something worthy of a demonstration. I'm not sure I understand, but I suppose we should each slay what we can. Except Darrenville, who will just hang back and talk to his mom. My fussy little bun was never any good at fighting, and this body of mine isn't suited to it either. I'll leave this work to your capable hands. I'm afraid I must leave the fighting to you. Probably up there. Let's go do that right now. Earthen Sky Hideout. Interesting. Northeast. There it is. Directly south. Go do that as well. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding 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 ding. Ding ding. Ding ding ding. Oh. Alcove over there. Southwest. Oh, there we are. The other one, deep southwest, is probably on the other side of the side of this shit over here. This one will do nicely. Sorry. You're supposed to be, just my accent. This one will do nicely. We'll help you. It's fine, Willie. It's fine, Willie. I've faced works. Just watch. I don't like the look of this. Let us help. Oh no. Look out! Just gonna wake back up. "12 Preserve? She needs healing." That was embarrassing. The bastard caught me off guard. Are you mad? Seriously, let us help. I told you not to worry. It'll only take a moment. Hail Ken!
Just like Zoralja. Come on, let's get out of here. It's also a function of the regulator. Regulators. I think I understand now how Zoralja was able to return from the dead and defeat Papa. But I'm not sure what we saw at the end there. As soon as the regulator turned red, it was as if you were possessed. Your movements became beast-like. Don't tell me. You empowered yourself with the soul of a beast. I'm reminded of the serpentine soldier we encountered at Vanguard who did the same. So you've crossed paths with one of the King's elite. Their form can only be achieved from gorging yourself on souls. This must be what Beastmaster's gonna be. It's not gonna be some pet thing. We could do the same in theory, but it's incredibly dangerous. Besides, it's not as if they allow hunters to carry that many souls to begin with. Well, I should be getting back to work. Take care. The soul of... And there you have it. Regulators can be loaded with two kinds of souls. Those of people and those of beasts. Okay, so they are separated. The souls of people can be used to grant their users supernatural strength. That's supposed to be people or beasts? Oh, no. Naturally, they can also be used to ensure no one suffers an untimely death. And what about the souls of beasts? They work much in the same fashion, imbuing you with the strength of the chosen animal. If, for example, you should use the soul of a wolf, you would grow more agile and feral, as you saw with Strika. Using several of the same type at once, however, will result in physical changes. Your teeth might become fangs, your nails claws. Too many will become more beast than man. Changing one's forms through the souls of other beings becomes more and more reminiscent of Voidsent. And unlike the Void, where the cycle of death and rebirth is simply broken, souls here are forcibly taken before they might reach the ethereal sea. Different means to achieve similar ends. A cycle to which all within the dome are bound. Not everybody. If you don't have the regulator on, then, well, I guess that's not necessarily true. No, it is true. Because if you don't have the regulator on, then when you die, the regulator is not there to capture your soul before it escapes into the ethereal sea. This is wrong. This is all wrong. It is indeed hard to accept, being so far removed from our own beliefs. Perhaps more shocking is the technology to achieve all this was developed hundreds of years ago. Civilizations in the reflections are surprising indeed. Cut to Emmett. Damn. Some of the civilizations in the reflections surprise you. Sphene speaks of lived experiences that suggest she's far older than she appears. Considering the power of these regulators, perhaps it's not so far-fetched. Never seen it for myself, but it's said that if a beast's soul is potent enough, a single soul is enough to induce a monstrous transformation. Trial hint. When Emmett Silk spoke of surprising civilizations and other reflections, I wonder if he had Alexandria in mind. Having seen the beauty of the ethereal sea firsthand, I simply can't accept what they've done here in Alexandria. I understand this is part of their culture. It's no less disconcerting. Well, we all have our thoughts on souls. For now, the important thing is we know what power Zorolja has at his disposal. It's one thing to separate corporeal ether from incorporeal ether, but to strip memories from the soul entirely is unprecedented technology. This is no longer only Tuliola's concern. With his newfound power, Zorolja has become a real threat to the entire world. Indeed, he has to be stopped no matter the cost. Hell yeah. This is what I like. Let's go. Unending Codex. The Void. The 13th was once strikingly similar to the Source, albeit possessed of its own unique history, much as might be said of any other reflection. Tragedy arrived, however, when Ascians enveloped the lands in darkness in their attempts to shatter the barrier between the worlds and force a rejoining. The first step of their machinations involved sharing the secrets of primal summoning and instigating wars of conquest. Heroes possessed of preternatural talents came forth to do battle, employing an art that sealed the primals away in crystal memoria. They then drew on the memoria's power to tip the balance and quell the conflicts for good. But from these champions arose new tyrants, intoxicated by the strength they now wielded. One by one, the heroes fell, the tides turned, and the catastrophic shift in ethereal equilibrium triggered a flood of darkness. Yet even greater disaster was to come when the Ascians rejoining failed to channel the surfeit of darkness unto the source. Having nowhere else to which it could escape, these energies surged and swelled until it engulfed the 13th entirely, transforming every living being on the star into twisted fiends. All that was left was a grasping void, where even the surcease of death was denied its inhabitants. Ever since its inundation with darkness, the veil separating worlds has been notably thinner between the source and the void, more so than with any other reflection. Forging a passage via natural fissures or man-made gates is comparatively simple, and voidsent incursions, be they the result of deliberate summons or otherwise, are a frequent occurrence. Zero Memoriat. In the void where life's natural cycle no longer holds sway, Zero strives to restore her world to its rightful state. Zero's mother, a Memoriat, was with child when she was exposed to a powerful source of darkness during battle. Zero was thus born half voidsent and ceased to age after reaching adulthood. She chose to take up her mother's struggle to bring an end to the Contra Memoria, but while traveling as a lone hero, she was bested by a band of corrupt Memoriats. The flow of darkness inundated the world even as she lay dying, sweeping her soul into the rift between worlds. When an incidental fissure at last allowed her to return, she found her world an empty void, uninhabitable by any being that was not a voidsent. Zero surrendered to hopelessness, condemned as she was to wander alone for eternity. Though not strong enough to manifest her own territory in the swirling mire, Zero rarely visited her home unless her aether reserves were low. It instead became a sanctuary for lesser voidsent who had grown tired of the endless battle for dominance, an intrusion she tolerated without protest. Seeking an advantage against the Warrior of Light, it was Xenos who summoned Zero to the source and bound her to serve as his Reaper avatar.
With his defeat, she was cast back into the void, where she would once again encounter Eorzea's champion with their companions when they came in search of the great worm Ajdaya. They gave her the name Zero and struck a bargain to enlist her aid in the battle against Golbez's archfiends. As they traveled and fought together, Zero began to reconnect with a part of herself that she had thought forever lost, and the discovery of how light might be restored to her world rekindled a fire within her breast. Zero soon abandoned the pretense of payment and accompanied the Warrior of Light on her own accord, forging bonds of friendship with Euless and many others in a way that she had shunned when fighting alone. Excuse me. The quest to defeat Zeromus would eventually take her to the first to meet with Reen, the Oracle of Light. Reen's words gave Zero much to consider, and after contemplating what her half-void-sent nature allowed her to do that no other being could, she took within herself the power of light. Zero then returned to the void to confront Golbez in the depths of the moon. Golbez too had desired to restore the 13th, but in his grief at losing his dear companion, he had been manipulated by the Ascians into unleashing the flood of darkness. So it was that Zero revealed to him the flicker of light she carried, convincing the would-be conqueror that a seed of hope yet remained. During the ensuing battle with Zeromus, Zero's fervent wish to save her world transformed her into a knight of legendary appearance. A blow infused with both light and darkness shattered Zeromus's form, and Zero succeeded in sealing the massive void-sense ether in Memoria. Following their triumph, she joined hands with the repentant Golbez, and together they took the first steps toward bringing light into the void. Wary of diluting her essence, Zero has always avoided feeding on the souls of others. This insistence on consuming stray ether often led to her death through starvation, leaving her to drift in the void until her corporeal form was reconstituted. After not eating physically for so long, Zero's sense of taste had atrophied, but she has since recovered this facet of cuisine after sampling heavily spiced foods in the source. Extremely spicy curry custom made to her preference in Ratsithan has become one of the city's new signature dishes. I wonder if that changes based off of your choices. Souls. Within all beings, whether it be man, animal, or even plant, does ether flow. It is the spark which grants life to the lifeless. Conversely, death can be said to occur once ether has left a corporeal object. From this, it is clear to see why many scholars use the words life and ether interchangeably. The ether of the living can be broadly divided into corporeal ether, one's vigor or life force, and incorporeal ether, or more colloquially known as one's soul. A person possessed of only the former becomes a zombie, while having only the latter would render them a ghost. Aetherologists also assert that an individual's memory is inscribed upon their soul's ether. It is further theorized that memory is associated with stronger emotions, such as regret, are more likely to persist after death, which would perhaps explain why so many spirits fixate upon vengeance. When a living creature perishes, its corporeal ether remains in the physical world, where it is consumed by predators or absorbed back into the land to provide provide nourishment for other life forms. Incorporeal ether, however, is returned to the ethereal sea. In that otherworldly plane is a soul washed clean of its memories, there to await rebirth as a new entity. So essentially when they do that memory strip of a dead person, they're essentially doing what the ethereal sea is doing, but of their own accord. So that part I wouldn't really consider to be an affront to nature or anything like that. But using souls as currency or, or manipulating the memory of living things is weird. Kakuya regards you with concerned curiosity, bracing oblivion. I trust you gained an insight into the use of souls in Alexandria. It's shocking, I know. I was overwhelmed myself at first. I expect you'll need some time to digest it all, but for now, let's head back to Earth and Sky. At this rate, there's something I want to discuss with everyone. Take a moment before we head into the tunnel. The other thing that I don't fully get is they talked about how only a human soul is something that they can use for replenishing the life of someone. But you're gonna run out. You're gonna run out. If somebody dies twice before their time, quote unquote, that means you would have used up at least 2 other folks to recreate yourself. So where do they... Well, I was gonna say that has to be what's happening. The conquest... Zeralja's plan originally might have just been, you know, for his own ambitions or whatever. But perhaps what Sphene is... Sphene's part in this is they're running out of souls themselves, and when they conquer other worlds, essentially conquer Tuliolol, the rest of Etheris, whatever else they plan to do, they can replenish the banks of souls. It is well that we can see firsthand how regulators are used to draw upon even the souls of fiends. Shudder to imagine how powerful Zeralja could become. What does Lamati wish to discuss, I wonder? To think that everyone has lived here for 30 years, long enough to become accustomed to the way of life. I understand the argument that we should keep an open mind, but if this practice is integral to their culture, but every fiber of my being rails against it. I'm sorry for delaying us, but I have some thoughts I need to share. In both technology and values, it's plain there's a wide gulf between Tuliolol and Alexandria. While Zeralja knows everything about us, we know hardly anything about what he's become. Indeed, we haven't even seen what lies within that enormous tower, Everkeep. So here I'd like to make a proposal. That is, we work with Kakuya and her people. We need to learn as much as we can about the enemy. The quickest way would be to join hands with Oblivion. We've only just met them, I know, but we shouldn't be too quick to trust. The fact remains that they share our desire to stop Zeralja. Sphene, too, claims to be at odds with the King of Resolve. May I ask why you would cooperate with Oblivion instead? It's simple, really. Their leader is Erenville's mother. Meanwhile, whatever Sphene may feel, she's the ruler of this nation. There's a greater risk in working with her, and less reason to take her at her word. Thank you. thank God. We weren't just gonna go, yeah, we're friends now. A fair point. In knowing Zoraljah, we must assume that his arrangement with Sphene was not made without some consideration.
All I know is it would be heartening to have allies in this strange realm. I think everyone would agree that any help we can get would be welcome.
Hold on. There's no guarantee that it's actually my mother behind the machine. Without seeing in the flesh, we can't rule out the possibility of a ploy. If it turns out to be a trap, we'd endanger not only ourselves, but everyone in Tuliolo. As you say, we have no proof it's really Kakuya. But I make my proposal in full awareness of this. We're going to war. Whether we're going to war or striving for peace, we need to learn as much as we can. Otherwise, we can't hope to do anything meaningful. As it stands, we know too little about this realm. We need to remedy that. We need to study the enemy, and when the time comes, strike down Zoraljah for good and all. What's more, I trust you, Erenville. You've always had great instincts honed from your time training under your mother. What if I'm wrong? What if sentiment is clouding my judgment? I trust you as well. It's always the way of it with you. Fine. If you're set on this, then I'll say no more. It's settled then. Let's head inside and secure ourselves some new allies. Boom, boom. I'm not gonna say that must be what is happening, because I've been wrong a couple times. But I'm pretty sure that's the whole idea behind them wanting to open the gate. The folks inside wanting to open the gate. While I'm all for dealing with Zoraljah, we need to consider how our actions might affect ordinary Alexandrians. They're not the enemy after all. I agree with Wuklamat. It's a gamble regardless of whether or not we've chosen to work with the people here, and more knowledge is better than less. The vow of resolve is possessed of conviction and flexibility both. The tales are true. She's learned much in the course of the rite of succession. With the resources at their disposal, I'm hopeful that Kakuya and her people will make great allies. I'm unaccustomed to seeing her make decisions like a ruler. Better than her former vacillating self, though. You understand how regulators now work, I trust. It's one of those things that's best seen in action.
Hello again.
The wildlife can be very dangerous out there. You'll need to take care of it if you don't wear a regulator. You need to take care if you don't wear a regulator. Oh. Kakuya, there's something I need to tell you and your people. I came here for no other reason than to strike down Zoraljah. But I thought he was your brother. You don't mean to kill your own kin? My kin invaded our nation and murdered our people. As vows of resolve, it falls to me to bring him to account. I'm prepared to do what I must, and I won't hesitate when the time comes. Like us,
You and yours oppose Zoralja. In light of this, I propose we work together to stop him once and for all. I realize this is sudden. It's a gamble to trust someone you've only just met. But I would trust in the conviction of anyone who shares my goal. So fight with me, I beg you. As you say, our goals align. I don't doubt your resolve in the least. If you hadn't proposed working together, I would have done so instead. Truth be told, it's been tough going at it alone. While we've gathered ample intelligence, we don't have the strength to take decisive action. Besides, how could we not trust you? My only son is with you, my fussy little bun-bun. He's all the reason I need. And it's decided. Here's to a fruitful collaboration. Thank you, Kakuya, everyone. Together we'll achieve great things, I'm sure of it. Let's not waste any time. We've been wondering about Zoralja's whereabouts. Is there a palace inside the tower? After a fashion, the king resides on the uppermost level. While the queen's fiend has a penchant for going out in the public, he seldom shows himself. What's more, his movements are highly classified. Not even his commanders are privy to that information. If anyone knows where he is at a given time, it could only be the queen. Even if we don't know his whereabouts, Zoralja will eventually march on Tuliolal again. That's when we can go after him. Drawback is we'd have to wait for the invasion to happen. Innocents would be put in harm's way. Also the possibility that he'll leave everything to his minions and not command the army in person. No, he'll take the field. What makes you so certain? My brother always yearned to surpass our father. That's why he attacked Tuliolal. After waiting for 30 years, the first thing he wanted to do was demonstrate his newfound strength. But killing Papa didn't satisfy him. But now he's bent on proving himself stronger than me and Guan. Vested him in the right of succession. Challenged me to strike me down. Wants a duel to show everyone he's the superior to the Dawn Servant, and won't let his minions deprive him of the pleasure. Then why hasn't he appeared and given you your chance? Surely he is aware of our presence here. That I can only guess. Perhaps he wants to dazzle us with his wondrous realm. But if he won't deign to appear, then we'll force him to do so. Even as we gather intelligence, we make no move to attack him. We have absolutely no interest in confrontation. Knowing him, he'll tire of waiting and turn his attention to Quana instead. He'll attack Tuliolal again like he said he would. I see. If you believe this is the best approach, well then we have no objections. Any campaign against Tuliolal requires that Zoralja lead his forces through Vanguard. Have lookouts, keep an eye on it day and night. Such a strategy is certainly viable. For proceeding with it, though, you should warn those outside. Indeed, they'll need time to prepare their defenses. Can we warn the folks with regulators? Are they just gonna tell the world? I should be glad to coordinate our efforts. I'm already in regular contact with Ishtola. Oh, outside. And we'll make sure to keep our comrades apprised of developments. You can leave Vanguard to us. We'll send word of the first sign of movement.
It seems we have a plan. While we wait for Zoology to move, you do well to prepare for battle. It begins with familiarizing yourselves with the technology that empowers him. To that end, I'll show you Oblivion's main headquarters. Oh, I thought it was this place. You'll be impressed to know we're located right inside the tower, residential district of Solution 9. Hiding a tree in the forest, as it were. The only question is how to get you through the checkpoint. Ah, about that. Sphene said she'd make it so we could enter without issue. She did? Curious. Not supposed to have such authority over the sentries. If I recall correctly, her words were that she would register us as guests. I see. Perhaps we're in the clear then. When you're ready, come and meet me at the tower entrance. Oh, maybe that's why it's a remote control robot, because she's inside. Before you head out, give us a moment to introduce ourselves properly, eh? He might end up being Alexandria. After all, names are good to know when working together. Intelligence that Kakuya and her people possess will be very useful to our efforts. If this isn't their main headquarters, I can't imagine what the actual base is like. It's eerie hearing my mother's voice come from that peculiar machine. Between making new friends and entering the tower, I can't help but feel a little excited. Me or Aravel and Kakuya, complete opposites in personality. Same thing. Same thing. While Oblivion has operatives all over, we're the main crew here. I'm Geo, the leader of this hideout. And the dependable young twins behind me are Nostalgia and Wayakwe. I'm Nostalgia. It's a pleasure to meet you. My sister and I were born and raised inside the barrier. Been with Oblivion for 3 years. Our main duties are surveillance and provisioning. Twins, eh? That explains the resemblance. Wayakwe is a Tonawatan name, unless I'm mistaken. That's right. Our mother is Tuliolan and our father is Alexandrian. Perfect. They wanted to honor both cultures. They're beautiful names. Thank you. Though I have no memories of my mother, I think I carry part of her with me. So what made you decide to join Oblivion? Well, they have no memories of their mother. We wanted to avenge our father. Ambrose was his name. I wonder if this is the FF9 reference. It's been way too long since I played it. Years ago, he was taken away after a scuffle with a soldier over a disagreement. It was a minor incident, so at first we clung to the hope that he'd be released. But when months went by with no word from or about him, we made the decision to remove our regulators. We had already lost the memories of our mother. We didn't want to lose those of our father as well. They've all forgotten about him now, everyone who had known him. Bastard. And here he thinks nothing of his own people. Sometime later, we were approached by a member of Oblivion. Hoping to get justice for our father, we joined the Order. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to darken the mood. No. I appreciate you sharing this. Together we will avenge your father. Thank you. Something tells me you have what it takes. Really like these outfits. You introduce yourself too. Go on.
It's pretty much the same story from me. While mine is a Tanawatan name, I haven't the faintest how things are outside the barrier. It's my dream to go and see it with my own eyes on Mother's homeland. Once peace is restored, you can come and visit. The wilds are beautiful, the food delicious, and everyone's so nice. You'll love it. That's us here. You'll meet others in the back room. That's our headquarters. Some of them are a little eccentric, but they have good hearts at all. Ellen Shvia, one last thing. Isn't exactly my place to say this, but thank you for seeking out Kakuya. Talks about you so much, it's clear how important you are to her. That's all. Be good to your mother while you still can, eh? Well, we'll let you go now. Feel free to use this hideout as you like. Tender shortcake. Right to another cutscene. Meanwhile... Here's the server racks.
You've been consulting with Wook Lamont. No matter. I do not know what you are scheming. But when your realm lay on the brink, you were powerless. You had no choice but to turn to me. Whatever sentiment you may feel for her, it is my power you require. Is it not?
Perhaps. And yet, knowing the love that Wook Lamont bears for her people, how she regards them all as kin, I cannot help but wish to spare her the same pain I have suffered. What's more, her friends possess new knowledge. Were we to work together, we might find another path. I know you're loath to consider it, but is there no hope for peace with Tuliolo? What we've already done may be unforgivable, but it needn't continue. You needn't kill your brother and sister.
I slew my only flesh and blood. Yet you attempt to sway me with an appeal to family. The memory of my father's final moments still fills me with disappointment. Age came for him before I did. For long years, I sought to prove the miracle. And weak as he was, defeating him achieved nothing. To kill them is my only recourse. Wook Lamont and Kona, who bested him as he was in his prime.
They are still your siblings, even if not by blood. That such bonds should mean so little to you.
I am bound to no one. Serve none save myself. I made that clear when first you spoke to me in the Golden City. Remember, I can easily kill your beloved family. If you would protect them, cast aside any foolish notions. Your wisdom and abilities are valuable insofar as our goals align. So think well before you act, Queen of Reason. Clement. If you are father's worthy successor, then you will find your way to me. But should you fall short, I will lay waste to Tuli Yolal.
What now?
All that definitely still confirm, or it doesn't confirm, but it still plays into my working theory that they were running out of souls. Not that they were surrounded by the cataclysm. Or the calamity, but that they were running out of souls. And they couldn't keep up the farce. That, plus the mechanical soldier going into Tuliolol and extracting the soul from that old lady. By the way, you'll want to watch yourselves around the mechanical soldiers roaming outside. Their malfunctioning may attack unprovoked. Wilmot is eager to head to Everkeep. Right? Kakuya is waiting. Let's head to the tower. It's why she's even still talking with Zeralsha. Because they definitely are not 1000% on opposite sides. She at one point, and still possibly, had a reason, like we just heard, for needing Zeralda's strength. Martial prowess, whatever you want to call it. I know I'm going the wrong direction. I just wanted to clear this part of the map. Could have gone through there. Probably would have been faster in doing what I'm doing, but I wanted to avoid those bats. But looks like I'm probably gonna run into these sentries. Regardless. Let's go over here. You can just teleport back. Taking some Discord real quick. Dorian's uncertainty is palpable. Pardon me, adventurer. Might I trouble you to lend me your aid? I found myself in a rather troublesome predicament. Earlier today, we were sent a soldier and asked to test out its improved combat functionality. I asked a hunter to take it on a patrol, but not long afterwards, I lost contact with him completely. I know the signal is weak out there, but I can't help but worry something might have gone terribly wrong. From the look of you, you can handle your fair share of danger, yes? You go out to the Thunder Yards and see if you can find them for me. Working theory is they were running out of souls. And Zeralja's plan of conquest was the solution they came up with to replenish the soul bank. So I've had for a very long time a question, and I think I've brought it up on stream during Prog Reborn streams about whether or not about the mechanics behind reflection. An A rank over here, but the mechanics behind the reflections and the reflections of a soul. Help this nerd out. Bum, 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 ba, da, ba, dum. You saved my life. For a moment there, I thought I'd have to use my regulator. Now, I somehow doubt an adventurer like you just so happened to be passing through. A researcher sent you to find me, didn't he? I'd better head back and explain what happened. May as well come and join me. I'm sure he'll want to know you're safe. Directly west. Oh, this is still everything on the other side, so we can just teleport back. The hunter told me everything. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for taking such swift action. These soldiers require energy gathered from lightning, and yet lightning also proves to be their weakness. Apparently it took a nasty jolt in the Thunder Yards and went berserk. Honestly, why are they tinkering with offensive output when they could be correcting this glaring flaw in the design? Rest assured, the engineer in charge will hear all about this in my report. Sorry for the trouble. I hope this small token will suffice as compensation. Kinte is fretting over her young charge. She's wont to do. Oh, sorry. Oh, Shiloh, what am I going to do with you? Keep telling you to take a hunter with you when you leave town. Well, if it is in Her Majesty's guest, you enjoy your tour of Upier's Hollow. I was told you even helped set the water distribution system right. You know, I could really use someone with your talents right about now. The woman in charge of that very farm just left for the wilderness without a bodyguard. Seems to me she's investigating something, but that's no reason to put herself in danger. Last I heard, she was seen walking up the hill to the east of the farm. You gonna make sure she's alright? Oh, what a relief. You're looking for a young Shatona by the name of Shalawaki. Now go off. Now off you go. And thank you, dear. We heard that name before. I think Sphene or Mahusa mentioned it. Yupie. Yupie. But it's Ellen Schvia. Or was that with a PH from when Maryville's mother spoke about that? Oh, I need to go this way. Maybe it's Upia? Upia Halo? Upia Hollow? Took a dip over to general chat to see what people are saying, and they definitely are spoiling, but it's past a point where I already was less annoyed than I would have been. It's a very, I say people are spoiling. It is an extremely vague reference that you could pretty easily make the assumption of. Shalawaki. 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 Gods be good. That was the last of my soul cells. I could have really died there. Thanks for the help, by the way. So, what brings you out here to the middle of nowhere? Auntie Nakente sent you after me? Makes two people who just saved my life then. Would you mind coming with me to see her? I want her to know I'm safe and grateful besides. It's called Thunderstorm. Okay. But okay, I'm sorry. Welcome back, dear. I can't thank you enough for rescuing this poor, reckless fool of a girl. You're not a child anymore, Shallow. Act your age. Now, what do you say to the kind stranger who saved your life? No, I already told you once before, but thank you truly. I'm Shalawaki. I'm in charge of Yupie's Hollow. Tell the truth, I'm still learning how everything works. I used to be an electro engineer, but for some reason the government reassigned me here. And I'm the Kente, the farm's corn keeper, or resident nag, depending on who you ask. How we get your name, hero? M rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? That's a name you best not forget, Shallow. You'd be dead were it not for him. Now, why in the world would you leave the safety of the outskirts all by yourself? You've been acting so strange of late. It's clear you're hiding something, so what is it? There's really no getting anything past you, is it? Is there? Fine, I'll explain. You have to promise to keep it a secret for now, alright? Truth is, I noticed the farm's harvests have been shrinking year over year, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. Staff are all doing great work, and as a former engineer, I can say for certain that the equipment is all proper working order. I even checked the pylons, and the readout was totally normal. I know there's a problem, and the longer we wait, the worse it'll get. A few years, the crops may start growing entirely. Something has to be done. Well, it sounds serious, and I appreciate you taking the initiative to solve it, but I worry about you, Shiloh. Can't have you putting your life in danger. And would you be willing to help her look into the matter? As an outsider, your idea of normal is sure to be different from ours. I reckon a fresh set of eyes will be able to spot something we can't. She's right. Certainly use an unbiased perspective. Would you please help him? Right then. With that said, I think you two need... I think what you two need now is a good meal. Have a seat, and your auntie Nakente will fix you some fresh veggies. Alrighty. And we've been going for nearly 3 hours now. Though I do want to go. We're just about to make it into Solution 9. I think we'll finish up this quest. See what we can see of Solution 9. And then go from there. And then probably stop stream, I should say. Visitor detected. Verifying access rights. Error, no data found. You must be accompanied by registered personnel to proceed. Oh, there you are. If Queen Sphene has registered you as a guest, you should be able to march right in. And if she hasn't, then you may have a swarm of Zoologist's minions to deal with. Nothing for it, but to see if Sphene has betrayed us, eh? Thank you for the diligent service, friends. My companions and I would like to pass, if you'd be so kind. Outrunner Guide Unit identified. Registration number verified. 6 accompanying civilians identified. Verifying credentials. Credentials verified. Welcome, guests of Queen Sphene. What a relief. There you have it. Seems the Queen was true to her word. Follow me, everyone. Solution 9 awaits. We're definitely getting another cutscene here. I hear the music.
Everkeep, a tower of electrope piercing a perpetual shroud of storm clouds. Occupying the 9th level of this 12-tiered structure is a residential district called Solution 9. In so naming their home, what hopes did its founders harbor for it? And did it prove the answer they sought?
The Lallas and elves. Ellison.
Spectacular, isn't it? There are more districts throughout the tower, including industrial ones, but Solution 9 is the largest.
Just being here makes my head spin.
Perfectly natural reaction. A city of shimmering electrope, replete with strange technologies that cater to every conceivable need. We never dreamed of the life back home in Tuliolo. Now, while I go and explain the situation to those in the back room, why not take a moment to explore? I believe lived experiences are far more educational than dry explanations. And you want to know more about Sphene and Zeralja's dominion, do you not?
Get me to explore.
I had a feeling you'd be keen.
Just to confirm, while we have been allowed inside, are we also permitted to roam?
Absolutely. As Sphene's registered guest, you'll find you're exempt from the sentry scrutiny. The elevator to the uppermost level. I wouldn't go near that. But other areas should be fine provided you act like you belong.
All right then, we'll show ourselves around.
Yes. Familiarizing ourselves with the technology here will help us prepare for the battles to come.
Try not to enjoy yourselves too much, or you're liable to attract attention.
Once you've explored to your satisfaction, come to the entrance to True View in the eastern sector. The way from there is a little complicated, so I'll send someone to guide you.
Understood. We'll see you later.
It's the residential district, so I imagine this is the rats
I shall
of
speak with the residents. Perhaps one of them will recognize the earring.
Dawntrail.
What's with this place? How can this all be the inside of a tower?
So, what aren't you telling me? Where are you?
That, I can't reveal yet. Precautions, you understand. Just know that I'm safe. But come, tell me about your adventurer friend. You seem to have a great deal of faith in him. You must have been through a lot together.
You might say that. For instance, we found the entrance to the Golden City.
you want to explore together? It's not that I'm scared or anything. Everything is just so different from home is all.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've got ether shards here. Tune there, and we'll tune up the big one. Then, ooh, that's the next sightseeing log. That's good. There's Nexus Arcade. Nexus Arcadian, perhaps? Do I see anything that looks like a GPU? But yeah, like I said, I wanted to get in here and then call it a stream. Interesting. Government sector. We can go up here. Oh, I don't want to explore too much. I'm going to get lost exploring, and I need to shut down the stream, get some dinner, and all that. I will probably be streaming quite a bit tomorrow. I have the day off due to the 4th. I don't really have any plans. I couldn't take off any extra time from work. So just going to end up likely trying to push for the end of Dawntrail. So what have we learned so far? We learned a lot about the questions we had related to Alexandria, related to the Neuralink things, aka the regulators. We learned, and we've made some, I think, pretty educated guesses on what happened. Why did Queen Sphene even come to this agreement with Zeralja at all? My assumption is this whole reuse of souls to give, you know, not eternal life, but prevent accidental death, was running out, and they needed more folks. It could be no. I think that's definitely, I feel like that's definitely it. I was gonna say it could be they were just trying to get away from the shard that they were on, which seems to be the shard that was subsumed back into the source during the Calamity of Lightning, which was the calamity that took down the Alligans. But theoretically, given what Queen Sphene mentioned, they had reached sort of an equilibrium with where they were. The city and the city and the surrounds of Alexandria were able to fight against the lightning storm, or whatever the hell is going on that actually happened to cause the calamity. So to me, it had to have been something else, some new crisis that Queen's Fiend needed to resolve. I think it's pretty clear that this is from the shard that eventually was subsumed to cause the Calamity of Lightning. My guess is the Alligans sort of gave them the ideas for all this electrope technology, and they began to rely on it more and more and more and more and more, to the point that destroyed their world. It not really destroyed their world, but, you know, caused a flood of lightning, essentially. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like on the way out, I'd be greatly appreciative. If you'd like to know the next time that I go live for this, hopefully our push to the end, you can always subscribe to the channel. Best and easiest way to get those go-live notifications. Or you can join the community Discord, !Discord in the live chat on your way out, or you can find that link in the video description below. I've been saying this the last few streams, but this channel is typically used for a Prog Reborn, which is my progression style playthrough of Final Fantasy XIV. You can learn more about what that means by typing !intro or finding that link in the video description below, along with my thoughts on patch 2.0 and 2.1 for the Prog Reborn playthrough. I'm currently I'm currently on hiatus, obviously, but in the midst of patch 2.2, which is going to be quite a long one. I would love for you to join me on that journey as well. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.